Have you ever felt it? That quiet, stubborn discomfort. The one that stirs when the world grows too loud, too demanding, too blind. A whisper beneath the noise telling you the game you were taught to play was never truly yours. You work hard, you stay honest. You hold your head high, believing that fairness would carve a path for you. That the world, in all its supposed justice, would recognize the weight of your silent efforts. But the years slip through your fingers, and slowly a bitter truth begins to bleed through. It is not always the purest who triumphs, not always the kindest who is seen, not always the just who is crowned. Sometimes it is the ruthless, the bold, the ones who do not ask for permission and never wait to be chosen. And then a question begins to take root, one that few dare to face. Is goodness enough in a world that worships strength before virtue? Today, no easy answers will be offered. No soothing illusions to rock you back to sleep. Today, we walk together through lands shadowed by truths most are too afraid to name, where courage is no longer about raising your voice, but about hearing the voice within, the one you buried beneath years of waiting, doubting, shrinking. The forgotten voice of your own strength, still beating, still waiting, still alive. Imagine a room, crowded, buzzing with restless ambition, every face turned upward, chasing a prize that shimmers just beyond reach. Some reach with open hands, steady, patient, honest, believing that righteousness will be enough. Others claw and trample, ripping down whatever dares to stand in their way. And as the dust thickens, as the chaos rises, a brutal clarity begins to emerge. It is not the most deserving who ascend. It is not the purest, nor the kindest, nor the fairest. It is the ones who refuse to wait for permission, the ones who dare to take what they want, even when the world pretends it belongs to someone else. In the forgotten corners of that room, the silent ones gather, the ones who believed that fairness was a shield, that sacrifice would be seen, that patience would be rewarded. They wait, and they wait, and they wait, until the room grows cold, until only the faint echoes of broken promises remain, circling like ghosts around them. You were taught that virtue is its own reward, that goodness, in and of itself, would be enough. But here, in the true game, virtue without strength is invisible. It is a cruel revelation that the world is not a courtroom weighing right and wrong. It is an arena, savage, breathless, ruled by those who dare to move while others hesitate. And so many beautiful souls are left behind, not because they lacked worth, not because they lacked light, but because they mistook hope for strategy and goodness for armor. They forgot. In a world built by wolves, gentleness alone is not enough. This is the room where the forgotten sit, noble, good, and unseen. But you were never meant to stay here, because somewhere deep within you, beneath the dust of disappointment, beneath the silence of waiting too long, there is a memory older than fear, the memory of the hunter, the builder, the creator of new worlds. It is still there, flickering, breathing, waiting for you to remember who you were before the world taught you to be afraid. They told you the world was fair. They wrapped the lie in lullabies and golden promises, sang it into your bones before you knew how to question it. Be good, they said. Work hard, follow the rules, and the world will open its arms to you. But behind the sweet words, there was always another truth, one they could not say aloud. That fairness is a mask, beautiful, comforting, and false. Beneath the surface, the world moves by different laws, not by justice, not by merit, but by movement, by audacity, by the quiet, ruthless certainty of those who dare. The story of fairness is not told to protect you, it is told to tame you. It keeps the kind-hearted waiting in endless lines while the bold write new maps and walk through closed doors. The world does not weigh virtue like gold on a scale. It rewards those who refuse to wait, those who act without waiting for applause. And if you cling too tightly to the mask, you will suffocate beneath it, waiting for a justice that was never promised, waiting for a world that was never built to see you. To awaken is not to lose your goodness. It is to place your goodness in your own hands, to stop asking the world to bless it, to start making it undeniable. Look at the ones who ascend, not with patience, not with quiet hope, but with relentless motion. They do not wait for the gates to open. They break them. They do not ask if they are worthy. They decide they are. The ruthless rise not because they are cruel by nature, but because they are free from the chains that bind the hesitant. They do not tremble before rejection. They do not flinch before failure. They know that fortune favors the one who moves first, not the one who moves most politely. And so they climb, even if they leave wreckage in their wake. It is not the purity of heart that raises a crown. It is the fire in the blood, the refusal to kneel to a world that rewards only action. In the end, life does not ask who deserved more, it asks only who dared. But the ruthless do not rise forever. They build empires of stone and fear, but stone can crack and fear can turn. The same hunger that lifts them higher begins to hollow them from within. Their victories, once sweet, turn bitter. Their kingdoms, once vast, shrink under the weight of their own isolation. Power seized without wisdom rots in the hand that holds it. Tyrants fall not always with screams, but with silence, a slow, inevitable crumbling as the world forgets their names. Because fear may build thrones, but only truth builds legacies. And those who rule by force alone are swallowed by the very storms they once commanded. The world you were taught to believe in, the one where goodness is crowned and evil punished, was a beautiful fiction. A lullaby sung to keep the dreamers asleep. The hardest workers are not always the wealthiest. The kindest hearts are not always the most cherished. The most honest voices are often drowned out. And yet, so many cling to the myth of a just world, waiting, pleading, believing that if they just endure long enough, justice will find them. But justice is not a river that flows on its own. It is a fire that must be built, a sword that must be forged. Waiting will not save you. Hope without action is not hope. It is surrender. To awaken is to grieve the myth, and then to rise beyond it. You are not condemned to cruelty, nor to passivity. There is a third path. One few dare to walk, the path of the sovereign soul, the path of fierce compassion, the path where strength and goodness are no longer enemies, but allies, to move with wisdom, to act with clarity, to protect your heart, not by caging it, but by armoring it with truth. You do not need to become ruthless to survive. You need only to stop being blind, to see the world not as you wish it to be, but as it is, and love it fiercely anyway. This is the courage that changes everything. Beneath all your doubts, beneath all your waiting, there is a force that has never left you. The will to rise, the hunger to create, the sacred defiance against smallness and despair. It pulses in your blood. It waits in your breath. It calls to you in moments of quiet rebellion. It is older than fear, older than guilt, older than the myths that tried to tame you. You were not born to kneel. You were not born to vanish into waiting rooms. You were born to forge, to build, to set your own fire ablaze against the dark. The world does not need more obedient ghosts. It needs you, awake, whole, undeniable. Power is not the enemy. It is not evil. It is simply life sharpened into action. In the hands of the wise, power becomes a bridge, a beacon, a hand extended toward building something greater. In the hands of the broken, it becomes a weapon, a poison that corrodes everything it touches. Power reveals. It does not invent. It magnifies what is already within. If you seek power to heal, to build, to create, you become a force the world cannot cage. The question is not whether you should wield power. The question is, will you wield it with open eyes and an unbroken soul? The world will not be saved by the powerless. It will be remade by the powerful who refuse to become corrupt. And that choice, that strength, begins within you. Here you are, standing at the threshold. One hand in the ruins of old illusions, one hand reaching for something unseen. Behind you, the myths that no longer fit. The waiting rooms you will never sit in again. Ahead of you, the raw, endless wildness of creation. A life not handed to you, but seized with both hands. You were not meant to be forgotten. You were not meant to vanish in lines of obedience and false hopes. You were meant to remember, to rise, to forge the world you were once told was impossible, not by becoming ruthless, but by becoming whole, not by discarding your heart, but by learning how to shield it, how to guide it, how to let it burn without apology. This is your revolution, silent, unstoppable, already beginning, not out there, but here, within you.